It turns out the subjects having their brains removed are being sent to the facility from civilian prisons. Now, as crazy as this whole situation sounds, it isn't as out there as you might think. There is a long history in our real world of governments and organizations experimenting on prisoners and other incarcerated individuals without their consent. One of the most famous instances of this happening involves a top-secret CIA operation known as MK-Ultra. MK-Ultra was an attempt by the United States government to find a way to control the minds of unwilling participants through the use of things like hypnosis, electroshock therapy, sensory deprivation, and the use of drugs, with LSD being one of the most well-known. The program itself ran from about 1953 until 1964, and included some famous names on the list of participants, like future mob boss Whitey Bulger, author of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Ken Kesey, and poet Allen Ginsberg, among others. The whole thing was one big masterclass on how not to run a scientific experiment, and in the end, the results were nothing special, a truth we can find in the Fallout version of things as well. Master Sergeant Broderick's entries are only a small part of the tale though, and he didn't last long at the facility when he started calling out the experiment as being wrong. The last entry in the terminal is from a Master Sergeant Esteban, and it tells us that Broderick was reassigned while also parroting the idea that the experiments are not only necessary for national security, an idea MK-Ultra espoused, but also that there's nothing wrong with them because the victims are prisoners who deserve what they get. We've already discussed ethical principles in scientific experiments and why they're important, so we won't get too into the weeds about that. But I will say that those standards apply to every test subject regardless of their background. Especially in a system where people are routinely locked up for minor crimes, or even when they didn't commit a crime at all. How many of the prisoners being experimented on here pled guilty and went to jail when they were innocent because they thought they had no other choice, or were coerced into a guilty plea? But the conversation about the American justice system will have to wait for another day, as we've got more to uncover here in this experiment.